Hello viewers, welcome to K Diagnostics Duo here. Today we have a 2004 Hyundai Sonata with a 2.7 liter. The complaint on this vehicle is there is a whining noise coming from under the hood every time the steering wheel is turned. So we're gonna confirm the complaint. I already did confirm the complaint by driving the vehicle inside the shop. When you turn the steering wheel, there is a whining noise coming from under the hood, and that noise is caused by the power steering pump. So this is going to be a how-to video. I am going to show you how to remove and replace the power steering pump on this vehicle. And today I have my nephew here with me.
Yeah.
So Abraham is here with me. It is Saturday, so he's hanging out with his uncle in the shop, right?
Yes, I am.
So you're gonna help me fix this vehicle, right?
That's right.
Awesome. So we're gonna share this with you. We will remove and replace the power steering pump on this vehicle. But before we do that, I'm gonna start the engine. I'm gonna turn the steering wheel back and forth. Hopefully the noise is gonna be loud enough so that you guys can hear it. And then we will come here under the hood so we can get this power steering pump replaced. So are you ready to do this?
Yep, I'm ready.
Alright, so let's do it. So now let's go inside the vehicle and start the engine. And let's see if you guys will be able to hear this whining noise. So I'm gonna turn the steering wheel. I mean, I hear the power steering noise under the hood. I can hear the power steering pump making noise. I don't know if the noise is loud enough for the camera to pick it up. But if you hear this kind of noise, the problem is usually the power steering pump. Alright, so I'm gonna have Abraham turn the steering wheel back and forth for us, and then I will take you guys with me under the hood. Hopefully the noise is louder under the hood so you guys can hear it. Okay, so let's go under the hood. So Abraham, you're gonna come in here and you're gonna turn the steering wheel back and forth like this, and then I'm gonna go under the hood to see if I can really hear that noise, because I don't think the camera is picking that up here. Close the door, turn the steering wheel. Yeah, that's good. Just keep doing that. Keep doing that. Turn. Turn. Turn all the way. So the power steering pump is right here. Turn all the way. I don't know if you can hear that noise, but this power steering pump is really noisy, and this noise gets louder sometimes, okay? So, and this area is a little bit wet, okay? So it looks like the pump is pushing some of the oil out, okay? Let me open this to see if this oil is boiling in here. I don't know if you can see in the reservoir, the oil is actually bubbling, okay? If you see the oil bubbling like this inside the power steering fluid reservoir, that's an indication of a defective power steering pump, okay? You see all those bubbles in there? With a good pump, the fluid should be nice and still in the reservoir. Okay, turn the wheels again. There you go, that's the noise right there. And that noise gets really loud. Go the other way. Alright, so that's good. Turn it off. Alright guys, so that's it. I hope you heard that. This power steering pump is bad. We gotta replace it. So now I'm gonna show you what we have to do so we can get this power steering pump replaced. Now, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this cover, okay, because we have to get access to the pump and the serpentine belt. So I'm going to undo these 4 bolts. They are 10mm bolts, so we're gonna remove these 2 and then these 2 up here so we can remove this cover, and then we will get access to the power steering pump. So now let's do that. Okay, you know what? If it's not coming out, that's fine. You need to undo the oil filler cap. You see this cap over here?
Yeah.
You have to undo that. Yeah. Remove it. Yeah. Now you can just put it over there. And now lift the cover. Now the cover should come up. Yeah. Just lift it up.
Okay.
It's right there. Yeah. Just pull it up. There you go.
That's...
Okay. Now you can go put it on that. You can just leave the bolt there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'll put it over there.
I don't want it to fall.
You don't want it to fall? Okay, good. Yeah. Now, you need to put the oil filler cap back on this opening because we don't want to leave it open.
Yep.
Because we don't want to drop anything there.
And it's gonna dry.
Yeah. So go the other direction.
Oh.
You have to tighten it. There you go. Good. So here is our power steering pump. Okay. So this is the pump right here, and this pump is really straightforward and easy to remove. So this is the high pressure line. We're gonna undo this bolt. This is a big banjo bolt that we have to undo. We're gonna remove this bolt, and then we're just gonna get this line out of the way. We're gonna disconnect this feed line. This line comes from the reservoir. We're gonna disconnect this, and then we're gonna remove the serpentine belt. Okay, the belt has a tensioner down over here. So that's the tensioner right there. We have to push that tensioner down so we can get the tension off the serpentine belt. Once we get the tension off the serpentine belt, we should be able to remove the belt. So we have to get the belt off this power steering pump pulley. And then the power steering pump has 3 bolts down here that we have to undo, and then it will come out. So I'm gonna seat you guys over here so we can do that. So now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna disconnect this feed hose. I'm going to get this pig mat and put it down over here so I can protect the belt. Actually, you do this if you are reusing the belt, okay? Because we don't want the belt to get wet, or we don't want the power steering fluid to fall on the belt. But I'm gonna replace the belt anyways, so what I'm doing right now, it's not really necessary. I'm just showing you this. But if you're reusing the belt, make sure that your power steering fluid doesn't get on the belt. Okay, so now we're gonna push this clamp back here, and we're gonna disconnect this. All right, so this hose is disconnected. We're just gonna push it down here, out of the way. Okay. Good. So now we're gonna undo the high pressure line. We're gonna remove this bolt over here. Is a 24mm bolt. So we're gonna undo that next. Okay. Can you do that?
Yeah,
now you have to push it towards me. It's tight. Go, go, go. Let's see how strong you are. Push it. Push it as hard as you can, Abraham. Push it. Okay, let me see. There you go. Now,
sideways?
No, actually there's a fitting over here. Okay, you know what? You're gonna have to undo. Okay. You know what? There's a fitting over here that's spinning. Actually, I'm gonna bring you guys over here so I can show you. We have to hold this fitting with another wrench so we can undo this one. Alright, so here's what's going on. There's a fitting over here that's spinning. Okay, this fitting over here is spinning with the whole line. So the line right now, so the bolt is attached to this fitting, and this fitting came loose. So what we have to do is we have to remove this supply tube so we can put a wrench on this fitting. When we hold this stationary, then we will be able to undo this banjo bolt. So I'm gonna undo this 12mm bolt. So there's this one over here, there's another one back here. So I'm gonna undo these two. I'm gonna remove this, and then we'll put a wrench over here. We're gonna hold this fitting so we can undo this banjo bolt. So now let's do that.
I'll do it. Oh.
So, all right, so the first bolt is removed. Now we're gonna remove the second one. The second one is removed. So I can just pull this out. Okay, so this tube is removed. I can just put it over here. So now I can get a wrench and hold this. Can you see now?
Mm-hmm.
So we can hold this. So you can hold that, and then I can get another wrench so we can undo the banjo bolt.
So so this way or this one?
No, the other way. You're gonna have to hold it down. You have to hold it really tight. Hold on. Let me hold. Okay, hold my hand. There we go. Good. You see, now we can undo the banjo bolt. Okay, now you have to be careful because there's a washer on the other side of that banjo bolt. So there's a seal there. So as you remove it, you have to be careful not to drop that seal. Yeah, keep going. There you go. Pull it out. Okay, let me see. You see this washer over here?
Mm-hmm. So.
You see the copper washer? Hold on, let me show you. You see this?
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about. Okay?
Cute.
So you can put that over there. And then there's another one on the other side. So as I'm lifting this fitting, this line.
Where's...
So this is the other copper washer. You can just put it over here, Abraham. Just put it over here. Put it on the manifold. Just put it on the intake manifold. You can just put the bolt there. Okay. So we can lift this. This can just be pushed back there. Okay. So as you can see, we are gaining access to the power steering pump. All right. Now, the next step is going to be removing the serpentine belt. Now, we're going to have to get the tension off the tensioner, off the serpentine belt tensioner, so we can undo the belt. Okay?
Okay.
So now I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So here's what we've done so far. So now I'm going to disconnect this wire over here on the power steering pump. So I'm just going to have to pull it up. So right there. And now I'm going to push the serpentine belt tensioner down so we can get the belt off the power steering pump pulley. Okay? So now let's do that. Alright, so I'm going to push the serpentine belt tensioner down. Okay, you can just let the belt over there. Okay, so we are making progress. So we got the serpentine belt off the power steering pump pulley. So now we're gonna remove the bolts that hold the power steering pump down. So there's one over here. This 12mm bolt has to come out. The power steering pump has two bolts that hold it on the power steering pump bracket. So there's this one, and then there's another one back here. I don't know if you will be able to see it. So it's basically down over here, down in this area. Okay, so one is over here, the other one is down here. So I'm gonna undo these two 12mm bolts so that we can remove the power steering pump. Actually, it wasn't a 12mm bolt, it's actually a 14mm bolt. So I'm gonna undo these two bolts so we can remove the power steering pump. There's this one. And then there's another one down here.
So do I turn it?
Yeah. Now actually, hold on, I'm gonna give you the ratchet, the electric ratchet. Let me do the one at the bottom and then I'll have you do this one. Okay?
Oh.
Alright. So as you can see now, the pump is moving. Okay, so I removed the one at the bottom, so Abraham removed this one. Good. All right, so Abraham has removed the other bolt. So now Abraham, remove your ratchet.
Cool.
Now, yeah, actually at this point you can just lift the whole pump. Lift the pump. The pump should be able to come out now. Yeah, just lift it up. Yeah, remove it. There you go. Good.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fluid leaking out of it. All right, so Abraham removed the pump. Let me see, show it to me. Right there. Okay, good. So now let's take this to the bench. All right, so right there. So the pump has two bolts. So there was this one up here, so you see this hole, and then there's another one down there. Okay, so pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. I'm going to wipe this area down. I'm also going to replace this serpentine belt. Okay, and this is the serpentine belt tensioner. So what I did was I put a ratchet over here. There's a little opening here that you can put a ratchet on, and then push the tensioner down so you can get the tension of the serpentine belt. Okay, so we're gonna wipe this down, we're gonna install the new belt, and then I'll bring you guys at the bench so we can prep the new power steering pump, because we're gonna have to install the old pulley onto the new power steering pump. So I'm gonna clean up here really well, and then I'll bring you guys back up. Now we're gonna prep our new power steering pump, and here is the new one. I'm gonna show you the part number. So here's the part number of the new power steering pump. So now let's get the new one prepped up. Here's the old power steering pump, right? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the pulley from the pump. So we're gonna clamp this on the vise. We're gonna clamp this over here so we can remove the pulley. So I'm gonna clamp it by the pulley because I don't want the pulley to spin. Now I don't want to go super tight on the pulley because I don't want to distort the pulley. So this is a 19mm nut. So push it down. There you go. Good. So now you can remove it. Watch out. Okay, good. So you removed the nut. So now the pump should be able to come out. And here comes the old pump. Right? Just put it down here. Yeah. Here comes the old pump. Okay. So now let's get the new pump out of the box.
It's this one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now get it out of the box. Okay. Good. So here's the new pump. Good. Now, as you can see, this new pump, look here. This is the new one, this is the old one, right?
Yep.
Now, if I put this next to each other, you will notice that this little pressure sensor here, this one is not on the new one. So we're gonna have to remove this and put it on the new one. Okay?
Okay.
So we're gonna put this on the vise again. So now we're gonna go this way. So basically what we're doing is we're transferring all the components that we need from the old pump to the new pump. Okay? And let's see what size this is. So this is still a 19.
Okay. Yep.
this little cap. And then we're gonna grab all this stuff. This is gonna go right in there. Now we're gonna remove this O-ring. This one came with O-rings here that we have to replace. Actually, it only came with the big O-ring, but this one didn't come with it. But that's fine, we can just reuse this one.
So let's.
Perfect. Alright, so we got this little pressure, I think this is a pressure regulator, so we got this pressure regulator on. So now we're gonna install the pulley, right?
Yep.
We're gonna install the pulley on the new pump.
Oh.
It's always broken like that. Always has a crack. It's right there. So give me the washer. Alright, so now we're gonna tighten the power steering shaft nut to secure the pulley on the pump, and the torque spec for this nut is 45 foot-pound. Alright, so that's good. This is torqued. So now let's take the pump to the vehicle. You ready to take this to the vehicle, Abraham?
Yep.
Okay, now let's do that. So here's what we've done. Here is the new power steering pump. I installed the pulley on the new power steering pump. This is the old one. And I also replaced this O-ring over here. So I put a new O-ring. I put a little bit of grease on the O-ring groove so it doesn't fall when I take this to the vehicle. And we also installed this pressure regulator here. So this little pressure regulator, it has a, I believe this is some type of pressure sensor, okay, for the power steering system. So we had to get it off of the old one and we put it on the new one. So I'm gonna put these caps back on just so that nothing falls in the power steering pump. So we're good to go. I got my bolts down in the hole there, ready to go. Okay, so now let's take this to the vehicle so we can install it. Alright, so here comes the new pump. So I'm gonna make sure that everything is lined up here. Alright, so I'm gonna start them by hand first. When I finger tighten all the bolts, and then we can use the electric ratchet to tighten these bolts. Okay, Abraham?
Yeah.
So just get ready with your electric ratchet.
Let's see what it is.
So I got the first bolt up here started. So now I'm starting the other bolt down here. Okay. So now you can do this one. Good. All right. So now we're gonna tighten these two bolts. So the torque spec for the power steering bolt is 35 foot-pound. All right, so as you can see, that's torqued down. So now we're good to go. The next step is gonna be installing the serpentine belt on the power steering pump pulley. All right, so alright guys, so I got the serpentine belt on. I'm gonna bring you guys over here so I can show you the routing of the serpentine belt, and then we will put the tubes on the power steering pump back on. So the new power steering pump is installed. Here is our new belt. So the belt goes down there to the alternator, and then it comes back on the pump, and then it goes down on the idler pulley, and then it goes down to the AC compressor, and then it goes between the crank pulley and the tensioner. Okay, so that's good. Everything looks good. So now let's install the inlet tube and the high pressure hose, and then we will fill up the power steering fluid reservoir, and then we will start the engine. We're gonna turn the steering wheel back and forth so we can bleed the system. Now let's do that. Now I replaced the O-ring for the inlet tube. I don't know if I mentioned that already. So now we're gonna put these two 12mm bolts back on. So I have tightened the two 12mm bolts for the inlet tube. So now we're gonna install the high pressure line. So here comes the high pressure line. I'm gonna remove, yeah, you can remove that. So now we're gonna use our banjo bolt and the seals. Hold on, Abraham. There is a gasket that goes behind here. So there's this gasket that goes behind, and there's another one over here on the banjo bolt. So we have to make sure that both sides of this fitting have a gasket. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my 24mm wrench and tighten this. Now we don't want to go too tight, just kind of nice and snug. Just like that. So that's good. So now we're gonna reconnect this little electrical connector back here. We're just gonna push it down. That's good. And then the next step is gonna be installing the feed line. So this line over here. All right, so right there we are pretty much done. Okay, so now the next step is going to be putting fluid inside the power steering fluid reservoir. But before we put fluid in the reservoir, I'm going to bring you down here so I can show you a closer look of everything, how they're back together, and then we're going to fill up the reservoir, and then we're going to start the engine. Everything is back together. As you can see, here is our new power steering pump. The high pressure line is installed. The feed line is installed. Okay. And this little electric wire over here is also connected. So we're good to go. So now let's fill the power steering fluid reservoir. Alright, so we're gonna put fluid in the power steering reservoir. Alright, so now I'm gonna go inside the vehicle and start the engine. Yeah. Good. Alright, so now turn the steering wheel left and right. Alright, so Abraham is inside. Okay, turn all the way. So Abraham is turning the wheels. Go the other way. So we're doing this to bleed the steering system. Yeah, go the other way. I mean, the noise you hear is because there's still a little bit of air in the okay, go the other direction. All right, that's good. So I don't know if you can see in there, there's still a little bit of air in the system. So turn the steering wheel, turn it to the other direction, go the other way. All right, that's good. Stop turning. Okay. So basically, to bleed the power steering system, you have to turn the steering wheel. You know, you go left and then right, and then you go all the way to the stop and then all the way to the stop. So that's gonna push all the air that's inside the steering system out. Okay, that's how you bleed the steering system. And as you can see, Abraham is right there. So now turn off the engine. So that's good, guys. This is how you remove and replace a power steering pump on this vehicle. We're gonna have to bleed it a little bit more. So as you can see right there, fluid is coming out with a lot of bubbles. Okay. Okay, so that's good. So it's getting late. We're gonna put the cover back on. We're gonna do the process a couple times again, and then we will wrap up this video. So Abraham is gonna reinstall the engine cover. Okay. Now it's gonna go back here. Hold on, wait. Let me see here. Yeah, right there. Now you can install the old shaft. Alright, so the engine cover is installed. So now let's wrap up this video. Alright guys, so we're gonna leave it right over here. This is how you remove and replace a power steering pump on this 2004 Hyundai Sonata with a 2.7 liter. I'm gonna have to bleed the power steering system a little bit more because I don't like that little whining noise I heard. So while we have the vehicle on the lift and the tires are off the ground, we're gonna turn the steering wheel left and right a couple more times so that all the air can get out of the power steering system. Okay, so I'm not going to show you that boring process, but it's basically what we just did. We're going to do that, you know, a little longer to get air out of the power steering system. So I'm going to leave it right over here, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumb down. But if you do, you got to tell me why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. ring the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Abraham,
Yep.
good job.
You're welcome.
You did a great job. So it's good to have Abraham here with us. So Abraham, what are we going to tell our viewers?
See you next time.
See you next time, guys. Thank you.